You may be thinking this is kind of a weird setup to be sitting in the middle of a kitchen talking about travel jobs, and to that I would respond, yes, it is. But we're house sitting right now and I honestly didn't know where else to film, so this is what we're gonna get today. So if you don't know me, hi, my name is Rachel. I've been traveling for the past 6 years with my husband, Nick. We have lived in Cambodia, Australia. 3 of those years were traveling throughout our van in Canada, the US, and Mexico in our self-converted ambulance. And now we are living here in New Zealand. And the biggest question we get asked is, how do you afford it? And no, unfortunately for us, it is not a trust fund. We don't have some fancy corporate remote jobs in the tech industry that pay us $1 million a year. We're not some crypto investors. I'm not gonna talk to you today about drop shipping. We just work regular schmegular jobs. We just do it in kind of a different way. And so today in this video, I'm gonna talk about all the jobs that my husband, Nick, and I have been working for the past 6 years that have afforded us this lifestyle of travel. And really quickly, this is gonna be the first video of a 4-part video series that we are doing this month on getting work on the road, side hustles, and how we travel on the cheap. And so if this is something that interests you, please consider subscribing to our channel because I'm sure we can help you one way or another. The first job that we're gonna talk about today is very near and dear to my heart, and that is teaching English. Our personal travel journey actually started back in 2017 when we decided to get TEFL certified so that we could go overseas to teach English in Cambodia. Now, a TEFL certificate or a TESOL is the certificate you need to teach English in many parts of the world. Now, Cambodia was a country that we decided to go to for many reasons, but one of them being that the type of visa you need in order to teach in Cambodia is called an E-type visa. And to obtain that visa, you don't need a bachelor's degree. Now, for those who are super new to all of this, to teach English in many countries in the world, you need a combination of 2 things. That is your TEFL certificate and a bachelor's degree in any subject. Countries that will require those 2 things are countries like China, Korea, Japan, I think even Spain, and other countries like Cambodia will only require the TEFL certificate on its own. The pay for these types of jobs around the world really varies on what country you're teaching in, how many hours you're teaching, but it's really something worth exploring. If you are a native English speaker and you want to travel, I always say getting your TEFL certificate is your one-way ticket to the world. After teaching in class for a year, we learned about online teaching. And this is something that I still do to this day. I actually have a class tonight. Online English teaching can pay anywhere from $5 to $20 an hour. The one I'm trialing right now pays €12 an hour. And so of course, if you're living in California, it's not a very good pay rate. But even here in New Zealand, that's $21 an hour. And when we go traveling through India and Sri Lanka later this year, that money will go a lot further. So if you're interested in teaching English, I recommend getting a TEFL, researching visas, and also comparing online English platforms to see if any of them would suit you. Now, the second way and the main way that we make money is through temp work. Now, prior to traveling, I was an executive assistant, I was an admin assistant, and a lot of my background was in office stuff. So when I moved to Australia, I joined a temp agency for office work. So temps are hired every single day in so many different industries. I've covered mat leaves, extended vacations. I've been the person to fill in while a company is looking for a long-term employee for that position. Basically, how these staffing agencies work is that they will find you a job based on your skills, and then they will take a cut of your pay. The last time I took a temp job through an agency, I was still getting paid $28 an hour after they took home their cut. Now that I kind of know what I'm looking for and I have a lot of temping experience, I just go on to Indeed or LinkedIn, and instead of searching by full-time or part-time employment, I search by temp or contract work. The third way that we make money on the road is through Nick's skateboard coaching. He has been a skateboard coach now in Canada, Australia, and now here in New Zealand. And the way that he finds these jobs is by searching skate lessons near me and then applying to the companies that are offering the lessons. His skateboard coaching has paid him on the low end $25 an hour up to $55 an hour. Now, I bring this one up not because I think that everybody could be a skateboard coach, but if you have any specialized skill, this is something to consider. So if you play guitar, if you can offer vocal coaching or photography classes or pottery classes, if you have a skill like that, that is transferable throughout any language in any part of the world. A really popular job is to be a ski instructor in Japan. Now, especially here in New Zealand, loads of people during our summer and Japan's winter, they head out to the slopes in Japan and teach kids how to ski or snowboard. So I would definitely look into that if that's something that interests you. The fourth way we make money to travel is through social media. Now, full disclosure, it took us about 3 years of working countless hours a week on social media to make a single dollar at all. Our growth on social media personally has been pretty slow. And so my opinion on it is that it's definitely not like a get rich quick thing. I did it for many years without making a single dollar. And finally now it's starting to kind of pay off. But even still, that being said, we have had to get pretty creative with it. For example, last year in 2023, for 25 million views, we only made $6,000 for the entire year. Now, $6,000 is nothing to scoff at. That's a good chunk of change, but it's obviously not enough for two people to live, eat, and travel the world. So like I've said, we've had to make money other ways. In the past year and a half, we started making money from brand deals, endorsements, and sponsorships on our videos, and that has been extremely helpful. Because full disclosure, we could only make $6,000 for the entire year on YouTube AdSense. But now at this point in our social media career, we could make $6,000 off of one video from a brand partnership. So it has started to pay off, but it did take a long time. The fifth job and Nick's main job has been labor jobs. So while the skateboarding is cool and the social media thing is cool, between those two things, the money is kind of inconsistent. So just as I take temp jobs in the office, Nick takes labor jobs on the road. Some jobs that Nick has done on the road in the past few years have been concrete foundations, pest control, driving truck. He was a truck driver for a beer and wine company, and then he's also been a mover and driver for a moving company. Moving has been a really great form of income for us because he can get loads of overtime working for moving companies, and it's basically a revolving door industry. So they're always hiring and people are always in and out. It is also pretty normalized in those industries for someone like Nick to come in just for the summer when they need extra hands. The sixth way I've made money to travel is working on film sets. I went to film school and found out pretty quickly that working in film is a really great way to make money fast. But I was working in the commercial industry in Vancouver, for example, so it's very normal to be working on a contract that only lasts like a few weeks long. And I'm pretty sure the starting pay for a PA is like $200 a day or $250 a day. And that's like the lowest ranking in the film industry. So you can make really good money in the film industry, and it's not a job that you need to stay at forever. The seventh way we've made money is taking advantage of holiday jobs. I worked as a Christmas elf at the mall. Yes, that was my first seasonal job that I took to save money to travel. I was like the photographer for Santa Claus, so the kids line up and then you come and take a picture with Santa. I was the elf taking a picture, but a lot of places hire extra people for the holidays, so just even normal retail jobs or like gift wrapping, or if you live in a snowy place, to do snow plowing as well. The eighth way that we're making money on the road, and this is the main way that we made money on the road through our van life journey, was through a platform called Outschool. You can teach kids any specialized subject in anything. So I was teaching like a YouTube and social media class for kids. Outschool can pay really, really well. Like there are people that make 10K months on Outschool. My personal opinion on it is that you have to be pretty passionate about something and be willing to teach it, because you do have to make your own curriculums as well. So I would look into it if you have a special skill to teach and you're looking for an entryway into remote work. The next thing that we've done to make money on the road is dog walking and dog boarding. Now, like I said, I'm house sitting right now. We are staying at a house here in New Zealand in this beautiful area called the Bay of Plenty. And we're living here for free, just taking care of a little cat. We're doing this through an app called Trusted House Sitters. I'm gonna go further into this topic in our video series, just not in this video specifically, but we have made money using Rover. Now, for a little while, we were staying at my brother's place, so we actually had a place to board dogs. And if you have a home and you can board animals in your house, you can make a pretty good penny doing this. Between my brother and I, we would just have dogs and cats in the house. I mean, I think that we made like a few $1,000s that summer by taking care of people's dogs in our own home. If you don't have your own home to board the dogs, you can also just make money from dog walking on Rover or Wag. And there's also paid house sitting gigs on Rover as well. If you're finding this video helpful, please consider hitting the like button. It helps us way more than you could ever realize. The 10th way that we've made money to travel is through resort work or resort town jobs. We were personally living in Queenstown, New Zealand, and I would consider that a resort town. And so in resort towns, it's a lot easier to get short-term work because they're very used to people coming in and out. And it's just kind of the nature and the culture of the town. When we were living in Queenstown, I was working at a gym, but Nick was working at a vineyard. And that's a really good example of like a seasonal or resort town kind of job. He was working as a handyman at the vineyard, but they also hired people, you know, to do labor on the vineyard, but also bartenders, servers, that kind of thing to be running the restaurant, people in guest services to be checking people into the hotel. And I have also worked at hotels too during this crazy journey. Fun fact, my hotel job that I worked, first year of van life, was actually my lowest paying job on the road. It was paying $16 an hour, which was rough. But at the same time, we were living in a van and our expenses were like very low at the time. The 11th way to make money as a traveler is to work on cruise ships or in yachting. And actually that is where Nick is right now, is that he's not on a cruise ship, but he's out at the port because he is currently working on yachts. His entryway position, because he hadn't worked on yachts before, is just cleaning the yachts and kind of being mentored by somebody who's worked in the industry for a long time. Again, the pay range, I mean, the minimum wage in New Zealand is like $24 an hour. So he's getting paid again around the $30 an hour range to do this job. So nothing crazy, but between that and the skateboard instructing, and then also us not paying rent by house sitting and hopping from place to place, we are saving money while traveling here in New Zealand. We have met loads of people, hundreds of people on the road in the past 6 years, and we have learned about so many jobs that you can do to afford this lifestyle. So here are some of the jobs that we have learned about while living on the road: bartending, serving, dishwashing, being a tour guide, working seasonally at festivals. We've met a lot of wedding photographers, delivery drivers, substitute teaching. This is a really great one for traveling in America specifically. Landscapers or groundskeepers, traveling fitness instructors, so Pilates instructors, yoga instructors, personal trainers, sound engineers, babysitters, and au pairs. Au pairing is huge in the travel world. Especially if I was a solo traveler, I would 100% look into au pairing. Event or catering staff, this is another temp job. Valet attendant, window cleaners, a coach or referee for sports teams. We've met adventure guides, hiking guides, rafting guides, ski or surf instructors, camp counselors, and also camp hosts. And of course, fruit picking and farm work. If you're looking to find this type of work, I would recommend just looking on regular job sites like Indeed, Seek, or LinkedIn, and sorting, like I said earlier, by temp or contract. But there are also designated job sites for this kind of work too. These three work, I think, mainly in the United States, but Vega Jobs, Coolworks, and Occupation Wild, all really great websites for finding jobs in the outdoors or seasonal work. Also for gig work like InstaWork, Winolo, GigHound, Airtasker, TaskRabbit. I'm losing my voice. I get it. Travel can seem absolutely impossible. It can seem really overwhelming, and it can seem like, how does anyone even do this? Like, you would have to have a trust fund because it just makes no sense to me. And my goal in my life is to make it feel more possible for you. In the next video, we're going to be discussing side hustles. I'm going to be trying out a few myself. So if you're interested in that, we'll see you in the next video. Okay,